All right, so I'm going to be talking about the 5 takeaways from the best recruits I've worked with inside Scholarship Accelerator. So that way you can take these, you can replicate these in your own recruiting process, absolutely crush it, get the best results possible for you. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Trent Loyer. I'm a former college quarterback. I run the program Scholarship Accelerator, where we help families get scholarship offers. And in this video, I'm going to break it down into 5 simple takeaways. I'm going to break each takeaway down and so share with you how you can implement it and make the most of your recruiting process. So let's dive into it. Again, this is going to be a long form video like the past couple have been. It's going to be unedited. So if you are wanting to pay attention, if you're wanting to get something to take away from this, I recommend you take notes and you pick up the stuff that really grabs your attention. Not everything I'm saying is necessarily for you, but grab the stuff that applies to you and use it in your situation. So let's dive in. So the first one I have here in my notes is they have open minds. And I guess before I even dive into that, I should say most people will be like, oh, well, the best recruits are just the best players. And, anything else, recruiting, you don't need to be worrying about all this stuff. And that's just, I get what they're saying. And don't get me wrong. If you want an 80-20 on recruiting, yes, you have to be really good to be recruited to play at a high level. But I think if you're watching this and if you know anything about recruiting in general, the best players don't always get recruited. And even the star rankings are by no means a good measurement of who's a valuable player and who's not. We see all the time these mismatches, and they happen because not only because just coaches don't necessarily recruit the best players, but because of these issues in recruiting, because it's hard to get known by every single coach. And so to say, hey, all you have to do is be a good player, that's just not true. I've seen it. You've probably seen plenty of cases where the best players don't go to the schools that they actually deserve to or don't get recruited in general. And I don't want that to happen to you because that's just not right. It's not the way it should be. And so I'm trying to help every family to make sure that they have adequate knowledge on the recruiting process, can implement it to their situation and get the best results possible and not get overlooked like what happens so often in recruiting. So let's start with number one. It's having an open mind. And so if you're even on this, you probably already have an open mind. You're open to listening to me talk about recruiting and what I've gone through, what I've seen other people going through. But when I hopped on these calls, they're very, very open-minded. They're open to direction, to taking different actions than maybe they have in the past. And that's what I noticed from the best families that I worked with is, well, they ask me questions. Well, they ask me, oh, why do you think X over Y, or why do you think that we should do this? Well, they ask me questions, yes. Where they have discussion, yes. But they're always open to hearing that, to doing it, to trying it, because they know they're not getting the best results possible, and they want to listen and make sure that, hey, at least we experiment this. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But if it does, that's awesome. And so having an open mind is a big one, because the last thing you want in recruiting is something that maybe you've been in for a year, maybe two, is to have a closed mind about something that you don't really truly know yet. And I can't even say that I know everything about recruiting. Definitely do not. And so I have an open mind. I'm still constantly learning new stuff from the families that we work with, from different stories that they tell me, from different things I hear from coaches, from different things I hear from other people that help families with recruiting. So I'm also having open mind. So I just recommend that. That's probably not just a takeaway for recruiting, but also for life. Have an open mind. Number two is they take action. This is a big one. If you're coming this from my email list, is what I just wrote, is like the biggest thing I noticed that the best families do that I work with is like they just take massive action. And what I mean by that is they just put in work. They put in time and effort and work into getting this recruiting thing going, because it's not easy, and they understand that they can't wait around. And what brought this upon me is that I listened back to a couple calls that I had with some of the families, and 3 of the families that I picked, they all were already taking action. They were like, we're doing stuff. It's just like, are we doing the right stuff? Are we doing enough? Like, we just need direction. Like that was really what they needed. And they got that, and they're all crushing it now. We have one of them has 16 D1 offers. One of them's talking to like 40 plus D1 coaches. The other one is talking to multiple coaches from every single level, talking to North Dakota State, etc. Like, they're crushing it now just because they got that clear sense of direction. And they were already taking that actions. They just weren't taking the right actions, enough of the right actions. And so if you're on this, you're watching this, and you're like, waiting for the secrets, and you're waiting for the sauce. You're waiting for like me to tell you do X and you'll get a scholarship. That's just not going to happen. You can't wait around for that. Don't get me wrong. I pretty much give you guys a blueprint and all the free stuff so you can execute on that. You know what to do. I just think people wait around for a sign that, hey, we need to do it at this time, and you just need to start taking action as soon as possible. And you are taking action by watching this kind of stuff, but you need to take massive action. You need to do as much stuff as you possibly can, because you get one shot at this, and waiting around is not going to lead you to get the results that you want. So big thing, they took action. I recommend that you do that. That's probably going to be the biggest indicator of success, is the people that put in more work are going to get the better results. So the third thing is understanding recruiting. They focus not necessarily on like, I think a lot of people focus on the tactics, and so there's a difference between tactics and principles. Tactics are the things that are more straightforward, like send DMs, how to send DMs. People often look for that stuff and they think that's going to be the answer. And you can definitely get better results with that stuff. But the stuff that's really going to crush, and this is the stuff that these families focused on, was understanding the principles behind the tactics, because then you can apply it to your own situation. Because here's the thing. Truth is, if you did exactly what I did, it may not work for you. You are not me. You are not Trenton Loire back in 2020. You are not a 6'3" quarterback. You are not from California. You're not from Fresno, California. You didn't go JUCO. Like, your situation is not directly related to me. Also, I went through COVID. I just had a longer recruiting like, there's so many in-depth things that are different from me. So you can't exactly just go and replicate the exact stuff. That's why I changed things up for the families. Then you can probably copy my stuff, and you'll probably get good results. Don't get me wrong. But the families that really crush it are the families that take a look deeper behind just what I'm saying, though I talk heavy on principles because it's a big thing to me. And they just really try to understand the process, because not only does it get them better results because they know exactly, okay, hey, this is the reasoning behind college coaches thinking, this is how we get the scholarship offers, and then boom, we just replicate that and get it. But they also just get a lot more clarity, and it becomes a lot more less stressful, because they understand how things work. They know, hey, all we have to do is follow these principles and we'll be fine. And so understanding recruiting deeper than just how to do it is huge. The next one is more of a character trait, just patience. They were all, I mean, don't get me wrong, they were the first calls we had, they were probably a little bit more impatient, but throughout the process, they've been extremely patient. The one family that has 16 D1 offers now, I mean, they've been extremely patient. That's been a big thing. And it definitely hasn't been easy for them to be patient, but really it was just a matter of time type thing, especially once we implemented the strategy that we're using, and it was just a matter of time. That's really often what a lot of it is. I talk to a lot of families. I'm like, to be honest, it's just a time thing. It's not okay, we need to do X, Y, and Z. It's just you just need to continue doing what you're doing and be patient, and trust me, it'll come eventually. And so patience is a big one. The last one, the fifth one, probably one of the most important ones is prioritizing relationships over anything. So, and I think this is a huge one, not only for the success of your recruiting process and getting more scholarship offers and having more enjoyment during the process, but also just leading to a much more successful college career and more enjoyable college career. Because if you prioritize those relationships, yes, you're probably going to end up with more scholarship offers. Yes, you're probably going to end up with more interest, everything. But you're also going to end up, the school that you choose is probably the one that you have the best relationship with. And if you have the best relationship with that school and you've gotten really good at that, tell me how that school is not going to pan out. Like, you're probably going to have a great time at the school, whether you start or not. More likely, you're probably going to have a better chance of starting because you have this great relationship with probably your position coach, who's going to be the one to decide to start you. And so that just leads to such a better recruiting process, such a better life after recruiting as well, which a lot of people seem to forget about. And so prioritizing relationships was a big thing that a lot of these families did to just crush the recruiting process, get better results. And I highly recommend that you prioritize relationships over anything else. So that is the 5 takeaways. I recommend that you take these, and if you have a couple of these, awesome. To be honest, I doubt that you have all 5 of these, but if you do, then and you already do, awesome. You're crushing it, or at least hopefully should be crushing it. And a lot of these are you may be expecting more hard skills, like I'm talking about tactics, but again, these are more principle type things, and they will lead to a much better return on your recruiting if you do these things right, rather than me telling you how to do a Twitter post. Trust me. So hopefully this helped. If you like this, be sure to subscribe, follow whatever platform you're on. Also, if you're looking for more direct help, if you want to become one of the families I work with personally, then be sure to check me out at scholarship-accelerator.com, and more than happy to hop on a call with you, see if it makes sense to work together. If not, no worries, still we'll point you in the best direction. So really appreciate you watching this, taking the time. Hope things are going well, and I'll see you soon. Peace.